The year is 1279. From the heart of Khanbalik, the newly christened Forbidden City rises, a testament to Kublai Khan's ambition. This city, a carefully orchestrated blend of Mongol strength and Chinese artistry, was designed not only as a palace but as the very nexus of a burgeoning empire. Tens of thousands toiled relentlessly. Han Chinese artisans, Mongol craftsmen, architects, and laborers worked together, their diverse skills interwoven to realize the Khan's grand design. Every brick laid, every beam raised, was a symbol of a new order being forged. In this year, a traveler from a distant land approached the Dragon's Gate. Marco Polo, a Venetian merchant, had journeyed far to reach the court of Kublai Khan. The Forbidden City was his destination, a place where East met West and fortunes could be made or lost. The city throbbed with life. Merchants from across the known world hawked their wares, mingling with Mongol warriors and Chinese scholars. Marco observed, taking notes in his journal, captivated by the sheer diversity. Within the Forbidden City's walls, Kublai Khan articulated his vision. He sought not mere conquest, but a unification of cultures, a blending of Mongol strength with Chinese wisdom. The city was to be the physical embodiment of this ideal. Empress Chabai, a wise and influential figure, understood her husband's vision implicitly. She fostered an environment of intellectual exchange, inviting scholars and artists from all corners of the empire to contribute to the city's cultural tapestry. Yet beneath the veneer of unity, tensions simmered. Ahmed Fanakati, the Khan's financial advisor, wielded considerable power, his influence growing with each passing day. Whispers of corruption began to circulate, casting a shadow on the city's glittering facade. The Forbidden City itself was a masterpiece of design. The central axis, aligned with the stars, dictated the placement of palaces and gardens. Each structure was imbued with symbolic meaning, reflecting both Mongol cosmology and Chinese geomancy. Marco was awestruck by the Hall of Supreme Harmony, the largest wooden structure in the city, its vastness a testament to the empire's power. He meticulously documented its architecture, sensing its importance. The gardens offered a respite from the city's grandeur. Here, amidst carefully cultivated landscapes, the emperor and his court could contemplate the balance of nature and the harmony of the empire. Kublai Khan found himself increasingly drawn to Marco's tales of the West. The Venetian merchant became a trusted advisor, bridging the gap between two vastly different worlds. As darkness fell, the Forbidden City transformed. Lanterns illuminated its splendor, and the sounds of music and celebration echoed through the halls. But even in this moment of apparent harmony, the seeds of discord were sown, threatening to unravel the Khan's grand design. The dawn breaks over Khanbalik, painting the Forbidden City in hues of gold and rose. Kublai Khan begins his day, the weight of a vast empire already settling upon his shoulders. The morning rituals are a necessary prelude to the day, a blend of Mongol tradition and Chinese custom. Kublai Khan observes them meticulously, a demonstration of his commitment to his dual heritage. The business of the empire awaits. Petitions, decrees, and reports flood Kublai Khan's desk. He listens patiently, weighing each decision with the wisdom of experience. Empress Chabai, the Khan's trusted advisor, offers her insights. Her counsel is invaluable, her understanding of court politics unmatched. She tempers her husband's sometimes impulsive decisions. Ahmed Fanakati, the financial administrator, presents his reports. His influence grows daily, his power over the Khan's treasury a source of both envy and unease amongst the Mongol nobility. Marco Polo shares his knowledge of the West with Kublai Khan, weaving tales of distant lands and offering insights into trade and diplomacy. His unique perspective is a valuable asset to the Khan. The Forbidden City pulses with life, a constant stream of activity flowing through its corridors. Servants, eunuchs, and officials attend to the needs of the imperial court, their lives interwoven with the rhythms of power. In the shadows, secrets are traded, rumors spread, and alliances forged. The eunuchs, ever present and observant, hold a unique position within the court, privy to the inner workings of the Forbidden City. Evenings bring respite, a chance for Kublai Khan to relax and enjoy the fruits of his labor. Music, dance, and fine cuisine fill the imperial dining hall, a momentary escape from the burdens of leadership. Empress Chabai manages the intricacies of court life, ensuring that every detail is attended to. From diplomatic gifts to elaborate ceremonies, her influence is felt in every corner of the Forbidden City. As the day draws to a close, Marco Polo meticulously records his observations, capturing the splendor and intrigue of the Yuan court for posterity. His journal becomes a window into a world of power, ambition, and cultural exchange. Under the cloak of night, Kublai Khan surveys his domain, the Forbidden City a testament to his ambition and vision. The weight of his empire rests heavily upon him, the future of the Yuan dynasty hanging in the balance. Marco Polo found himself increasingly integrated into the Mongol court. His ability to recount tales of the West and offer unique perspectives on governance made him a valuable advisor to Kublai Khan. He observed the intricate workings of the empire, the blend of Mongol traditions and Chinese customs. The Khan was particularly fascinated by Marco's descriptions of European technologies and trade practices. He saw potential in expanding the Yuan dynasty's reach westward, opening new avenues for commerce and diplomacy. The intricacies of Chinese culture captivated Marco. He meticulously documented the artistry of calligraphy, the elegance of tea ceremonies, and the innovations in printing and navigation. Kublai Khan tasked Marco with traveling throughout the empire, acting as his eyes and ears. He journeyed along the Silk Road, witnessing the bustling trade routes and the diverse cultures that thrived under Mongol rule. He meticulously recorded his observations, detailing the goods traded, the customs of the people he encountered, and the challenges of traversing the vast distances. Upon his return, Marco presented Kublai Khan with detailed accounts of his travels, showcasing the immense potential of the Silk Road and the opportunities for expanding the empire's influence. Empress Chabai, ever mindful of the cultural sensitivities within the empire, questioned Marco about the potential impact of increased foreign influence on the Han Chinese population. Ahmed Fanikati, the ambitious financial administrator, viewed Marco's growing influence with suspicion. He saw the potential for increased trade to benefit the empire, but he also worried about the disruption of established financial systems and the potential for corruption. Inspired by Marco's accounts, Kublai Khan issued decrees aimed at fostering trade and establishing diplomatic relations with European powers. He envisioned a vast network of exchange, bringing wealth and knowledge to the Yuan dynasty. Marco Polo played a crucial role in preparing Mongol emissaries for their journeys to the West, educating them on European customs, languages, and political landscapes. The city of Khanbalik became a melting pot of cultures, with merchants from across the globe converging to trade their wares. The influx of new ideas and technologies stimulated innovation and economic growth within the empire. Kublai Khan, witnessing the prosperity and growth of his empire, felt a sense of accomplishment. He believed that through embracing cultural exchange and expanding trade, he was forging a new era of greatness for the Yuan dynasty. Ahmed Fanikati, the financial administrator, was a man of numbers and secrets. His influence over Kublai Khan's treasury was growing, but so too was the unease among those who watched his ascent. Ahmed's reports painted a picture of prosperity, yet whispers of corruption and mismanagement echoed through the halls of the Forbidden City. The Khan, trusting in his advisor, remained largely unaware of the brewing storm. Empress Chabai, ever watchful, sensed the growing imbalance. Her keen intuition told her that Ahmed's influence was becoming a dangerous game, and she began to subtly investigate the matter. Marco Polo, amidst his duties, noticed the growing resentment among the Han Chinese population. The weight of foreign rule was becoming increasingly unbearable, and whispers of rebellion began to surface. In the shadows, secret societies began to form. Frustrated with Mongol rule and fueled by economic hardship, they plotted acts of defiance, clinging to the hope of restoring their heritage. Ahmed's corruption deepened, enriching himself and his allies at the expense of the empire. Bribes became commonplace, and the treasury was bled dry, weakening the Yuan dynasty from within. Kublai Khan, focused on grand projects and consolidating his empire, remained largely unaware of the corruption festering within his court. His trust in Ahmed was unwavering, a fatal flaw that would soon have dire consequences. Torn between his loyalty to Kublai Khan and his growing sympathy for the Han Chinese, Marco Polo found himself walking a dangerous path. He sought to understand the root of the discontent, hoping to find a way to bridge the divide. Empress Chabai, using her influence and network of spies, began to gather evidence of Ahmed's corruption. She knew that exposing him would be a delicate matter, one that could shake the very foundations of the Yuan dynasty. While the Han Chinese plotted rebellion and Ahmed siphoned off the empire's wealth, the Mongol nobility remained complacent, blinded by their own privilege and decadence. Acts of defiance grew bolder. Seditious messages appeared in public places, fueling the flames of rebellion and spreading discontent among the populace. The stage was set for a confrontation that would determine the fate of the Yuan dynasty. The whispers of intrigue had grown into a roar, threatening to shatter the fragile peace of the Forbidden City. The imperial gardens were more than just a place of leisure. They were a carefully constructed microcosm of the empire, designed to reflect Kublai Khan's power and vision. Every plant, every stone, held a symbolic meaning, a subtle reminder of the emperor's authority. Ahmed, despite his position, found himself increasingly wary. Whispers followed him like shadows, and the weight of his financial dealings pressed heavily on his shoulders. He had arranged a clandestine meeting, hoping to quell the rising tide of discontent. The air crackled with animosity. The nobles, representing the old guard, resented Ahmed's influence and the wealth he had amassed. They saw him as an interloper, a threat to their traditional power. "Your schemes are bleeding the empire dry, Fanikati," the noble hissed, his voice a low growl. "Kublai Khan trusts you, but we see the truth. Your corruption will be your undoing." Ahmed retorted, his voice laced with disdain. "You cling to outdated traditions, blinded by your own greed. I am modernizing the empire, bringing wealth and prosperity. If a few coins line my pockets along the way, is that not a small price to pay? Marco, while enjoying the beauty of the gardens, continued his work. He pored over trade manifests and expenditures, tasked by Kublai Khan to find ways to streamline processes. It was then, amidst the tranquil beauty, that he stumbled upon a disturbing anomaly. He found a pattern, subtle yet undeniable. Funds allocated for public works projects were being diverted, the amounts carefully concealed beneath layers of accounting. The deeper he delved, the more convinced he became. Someone was stealing from the Khan's treasury. Marco, driven by a sense of duty, presented his findings to Kublai Khan. He laid out the evidence, meticulously detailing the discrepancies in the accounts. He expected outrage, immediate action. Instead, he was met with a disturbing calm. "Great Khan," Marco pleaded, "the evidence is clear. These funds are being misappropriated. We must investigate further before the damage becomes irreparable." Kublai Khan sighed, his voice heavy with fatigue. "Polo, I appreciate your diligence, but you do not understand the intricacies of running an empire. Ahmed is a valuable asset, a man who has brought prosperity to our lands. Minor discrepancies are inevitable." Marco was stunned. He had presented irrefutable evidence, yet the Khan dismissed it with a wave of his hand. Was Kublai Khan blind to Ahmed's corruption, or was something more sinister at play? Chabai watched, her face an impassive mask. She understood the delicate balance of power within the court, the hidden agendas and unspoken alliances. She knew that dismissing Marco's concerns might have far-reaching consequences, but for now, she remained silent, a silent observer in the unfolding drama. The weight of the empire pressed heavily on Kublai Khan. Reports from the provinces spoke of discontent. Whispers of rebellion carried on the wind like dust devils. Ahmed Fanikati, ever the opportunist, seized upon the news of unrest. His counsel, delivered with a veneer of concern, always seemed to benefit him most. Empress Chabai, ever the voice of reason, cautioned restraint. She understood the delicate balance between power and oppression, between ruling and tyranny. Marco Polo, witnessing the palpable tension in the streets of Khanbalik, couldn't shake the feeling of impending doom. The whispers of discontent were growing louder, more brazen. In the distant provinces, resentment simmered. Years of heavy taxation and discriminatory laws had pushed the Han Chinese population to the brink. Kublai Khan, swayed by Ahmed's counsel, dispatched troops to quell the uprising. The iron fist of the Mongol Empire was descending upon the restless province. With the rebellion underway, Ahmed seized the opportunity to tighten his grip on the Khan's treasury, justifying increased taxes in the name of security. Ahmed's reports, always meticulously crafted, painted a picture of imminent collapse, necessitating drastic measures and further consolidating his power. Empress Chabai, sensing the dangerous trajectory of Ahmed's ambition, confronted him directly, warning him against exploiting the unrest for personal gain. Marco Polo, seeing the empire teetering on the edge of chaos, implored Kublai Khan to consider alternative solutions, advocating for diplomacy and understanding over brute force. Kublai Khan, torn between conflicting advice and the weight of his responsibilities, found himself at a crossroads. The fate of his empire hung in the balance. The shadows of rebellion deepened, threatening to engulf the forbidden city, and cast a long, dark shadow over Kublai Khan's reign. Empress Chabai felt the weight of the empire settle upon her shoulders. Whispers of corruption and discontent reached her ears, carried on the same winds that rustled the leaves in her garden. She knew she had to speak with Kublai. Kublai Khan wrestled with the reports flooding in from across the empire. Each spoke of a different challenge, a different threat. He felt the pressure mounting, the strain of leadership threatening to overwhelm him. Chabai entered the study, the scent of incense and old paper filling her nostrils. She approached her husband, her heart heavy with concern. "Kublai," Chabai began, her voice soft but firm, "I must speak to you about matters of grave importance. The people whisper of Ahmed Fanakati's growing wealth, of his influence exceeding what is proper. I fear his ambition may be blinding you to the truth. Ahmed has been a loyal servant, Chabai. He has brought prosperity to the empire. Prosperity built on injustice is a fragile thing, Kublai. The Han Chinese grow restless under our rule. Their grievances must be addressed, their voices heard." Kublai paused, considering her words. He knew the truth in them, but admitting it felt like admitting a failure. He trusted Ahmed, relied on him, but Chabai's wisdom had never failed him before. Unbeknownst to Kublai, Ahmed continued to amass wealth, diverting funds into his own coffers with cunning and precision. Marco Polo, ever the keen observer, saw the growing unease amongst the Han Chinese population. He recognized the signs of brewing rebellion, the quiet resentment simmering beneath the surface. Kublai pondered Chabai's words, the chess pieces before him representing the delicate balance of power within his empire. He knew a wrong move could have devastating consequences. Chabai stood beside him, her presence a constant reminder of his duty. He looked at her, his eyes filled with a newfound resolve. "I will investigate," he declared. "For the sake of the empire, I must know the truth." For weeks Marco Polo had been discreetly auditing the imperial accounts. The discrepancies were subtle at first, cleverly masked, but with each passing day, the trail of illicit transactions grew clearer, all leading back to one man, Ahmed Fanakati. Unaware of the net tightening around him, Ahmed Fanakati continued his plundering, confident in his ability to conceal his corruption. He believed his position was unassailable, his influence over Kublai Khan absolute. The moment of truth arrived. Marco Polo, with a heavy heart, presented his findings to Kublai Khan. The scroll detailed the extent of Ahmed's embezzlement, the falsified accounts, and the secret wealth he had amassed at the expense of the empire. Kublai Khan listened in silence, his face growing darker with each line Marco Polo read. The betrayal cut deep. He had trusted Ahmed implicitly, granting him unprecedented power and influence. To discover this trust had been so flagrantly abused ignited his legendary temper. Empress Chabai, who had always harbored reservations about Ahmed's rapid rise to power, watched with a somber expression. She knew the consequences of this revelation would be far-reaching, shaking the foundations of the Yuan dynasty. "Seize Ahmed Fanakati," Kublai Khan roared, his voice echoing through the audience hall. "Let him answer for his crimes against the empire." The arrest was swift and brutal. Ahmed, caught completely off guard, was dragged from his office, his protests ignored. The fall from grace was precipitous and absolute. Before the assembled court, Ahmed groveled, begging for mercy. He swore his loyalty, claimed he was framed, but his pleas fell on deaf ears. The evidence was irrefutable, the betrayal too profound. Kublai Khan, his heart heavy, pronounced the sentence: death. Ahmed's corruption had threatened the stability of the empire, undermined the trust of the people, and for that he would pay the ultimate price. The execution was swift and public. a stark warning to anyone who might contemplate similar treachery. Ahmed's head rolled in the dust, a grim symbol of the consequences of unchecked ambition. Marco Polo watched the aftermath with a sense of profound sadness. He had done his duty, exposed the corruption, but the cost was heavy. The execution of Ahmed Fanikati sent ripples throughout the court, creating unease and uncertainty. Kublai Khan, though saddened by the betrayal, knew he had to act decisively. The stability of the Yuan dynasty depended on it. The search for a trustworthy and capable successor began, a task that would test his wisdom and judgment in the days to come. The empire had been shaken, but it would endure. The weight of the empire settled heavily upon Kublai Khan. Discontent simmered among the Han Chinese, their trust eroded by years of foreign rule and perceived injustices. He knew decisive action was needed to restore faith in his leadership. Empress Chabai, ever the wise counsel, stood by her husband's side. She understood the delicate balance required to appease both the Mongol nobility and the Han Chinese populace. Patience and justice, my Khan, she advised, are the cornerstones of a lasting reign. Ahmed Fanikati, ever present, offered his own counsel, subtly steering the conversation towards matters of finance. His influence over the Khan's decisions was undeniable, a fact that did not escape the notice of the Mongol nobles. Marco Polo, sensing the Khan's unease, stepped forward with a proposal. Drawing upon his knowledge of the West, he suggested opening new trade routes to stimulate the economy and foster cultural exchange, a path towards reconciliation and prosperity. Kublai Khan listened intently, weighing the potential benefits against the risks. He valued Marco's insights, a fresh perspective untainted by the court's internal rivalries. "Speak plainly, Marco," he commanded. "What reforms do you propose?" Marco outlined his vision: reforms to curb corruption, promote fair trade practices, and encourage the arts and sciences, regardless of origin. He emphasized the importance of respecting local customs and traditions, a crucial step towards winning back the trust of the Han Chinese. Empress Chabai subtly signaled her approval, a silent endorsement that carried significant weight. She believed in the power of cultural exchange and the necessity of addressing the grievances of the Han Chinese. Kublai Khan, swayed by Marco's arguments and his wife's quiet wisdom, made his decision. "We will implement these reforms," he declared, his voice echoing through the hall. "Corruption will be rooted out, trade will flourish, and the arts will be celebrated. Let this be the dawn of a new era for the Yuan dynasty." The reforms began to take effect. Markets flourished as trade routes opened, bringing new goods and opportunities. Han Chinese merchants and Mongol traders mingled, a sign of growing cooperation. The Imperial Library became a hub of intellectual exchange, where scholars from different backgrounds came together to share knowledge and ideas. The arts flourished, with new forms of expression emerging from the fusion of Mongol and Chinese traditions. However, not everyone welcomed the reforms. Ahmed Fanikati watched the changes with growing unease. His influence over the treasury was waning as Kublai Khan implemented stricter financial controls. The seeds of resentment began to sprout within him. Kublai Khan stood on the palace balcony, surveying his city. He had taken the first steps towards reconciliation and reform, but he knew that the path ahead would be fraught with challenges. The fate of the Yuan dynasty hung in the balance, dependent on his ability to navigate the treacherous currents of power and prejudice. The chill of mortality had finally grasped Kublai Khan. The forbidden city held its breath, anticipating the inevitable. Empress Chabai, ever the pillar of strength, watched over her husband, her heart heavy with the knowledge of their impending separation. Even in the face of the Khan's imminent demise, Ahmed Fanakati's mind churned with political calculations, the scent of opportunity sharp in the air. The great Khan's reign drew to a close. Kublai Khan breathed his last, leaving behind a legacy that would forever shape the Yuan dynasty. The city wept. The death of Kublai Khan plunged Khanbalik into a period of mourning, the weight of uncertainty settling heavily on its inhabitants. Empress Chabai, with unwavering strength, ensured a smooth transition of power, upholding her husband's wishes and securing the future of the Yuan dynasty. Marco Polo, his mission fulfilled, prepared to return to Venice, carrying with him tales of wonder and intrigue from the heart of the Mongol Empire. Ahmed Fanakati watched Polo depart, a seed of worry planted in his mind. The Venetian had witnessed too much, and his tales could unravel the carefully constructed web of deceit. As Marco Polo sailed westward, the forbidden city faded into the horizon, but its grandeur and its secrets remained etched in his memory. Upon his return to Venice, Marco Polo became a celebrated storyteller, sharing his extraordinary experiences and introducing the wonders of the East to a captivated audience. Kublai Khan's legacy endured. The Forbidden City stood as a testament to his ambition, a symbol of cultural exchange and the enduring power of empires. Empires rise and fall, their glory fading into the annals of history. Yet, the echoes of their cultures, the seeds of innovation they sow, continue to shape the world, reminding us of the enduring power of human connection and the timeless dance of civilizations.